Have you ever tried to find your inner peace, only to have it completely derailed by a cat? Well, let me tell you a story about a little fluff ball who accidentally became a Zen master. Every Sunday, the local yoga studio, a little haven called the Serene Spot, would open its doors for its weekly meditation class. People would shuffle in, leaving their worries and their shoes at the door, ready for an hour of pure, uninterrupted tranquility. The instructor, a wonderful woman named Lena, would dim the lights, light some calming lavender incense, and guide everyone into a state of deep relaxation. It was perfect. Except, peace at the Serene Spot had a very short shelf life, because a certain uninvited guest always made a grand entrance. His name was Tofu. He was a fluffy, ginger and white cat who belonged to no one and everyone in the neighborhood. And Tofu had a sixth sense for when the meditation class was about to begin. Just as Lena would say, "Close your eyes and focus on your breath," the little cat door at the back of the studio would flap open, and in he would strut, tail held high like a furry question mark. Now, you might think Tofu was seeking some kind of feline enlightenment. Maybe he wanted to transcend his earthly desires for catnip and chin scratches. Nope. Tofu's desires were far more immediate and much less spiritual. He wanted one thing, and one thing only: attention, all of it. And if he was lucky, maybe a forgotten tuna sandwich from someone's gym bag. His mission was simple: make sure every single person in that room knew he was there. The conflict was immediate and hilarious. Lena would begin the session with a soft, soothing voice. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out. And right on cue, from somewhere in the darkened room, you'd hear a loud, demanding meow. It was Tofu, announcing his presence. The first few times, people would stifle a giggle, but Tofu was persistent. He saw a room full of still, quiet people as a personal challenge. He'd start his rounds. First, he'd weave through the legs of someone trying to sit in a perfect lotus position, rubbing his face against their knee and purring like a tiny motorboat. Just as they'd start to relax into the purr, he'd suddenly flop over onto their mat, exposing his belly for a rub. Then, he'd get bored and move on to his next victim. He'd bat at the dangling strings on someone's yoga pants, climb onto the lap of a person who was clearly allergic, or his personal favorite stalk, the thin trail of smoke, rising from the incense burner, occasionally swatting at it and knocking the whole thing over. The class was pure chaos. People would try their best to ignore him, to observe the distraction without judgment, as Lena advised. But it was hard not to laugh when a cat was trying to wear your hair as a nest. Lena tried everything. She put a little bowl of food outside. Tofu ate it and then came inside anyway. She tried gently escorting him out. He'd be back through the cat flap before she even returned to her mat. He was a furry, four-legged agent of chaos. And he was winning. The meditation class was becoming less about finding inner peace and more about surviving the tofu tornado. Some people found it charming. Others were getting genuinely frustrated. The tranquility they came for was being replaced by a low-level, cat-induced anxiety. Then, one Sunday, something shifted. Tofu was having a particularly disruptive day. He had already managed to unplug the calming nature sound speaker by chewing on the cord and was now attempting to scale the curtains. A collective sigh of frustration rippled through the room. Lena watched him for a moment, and instead of getting annoyed, a small smile formed on her face. She stopped the guided meditation. The room fell silent, except for the sound of Tofu scrambling down the curtain. She walked over to where Tofu had landed in a heap and sat down on the floor right beside him. The whole class watched, confused. Lena looked at the bewildered cat, then looked at her students and whispered, "We come here to practice accepting the present moment, right?" We try to let go of our frustrations. She reached out and gently stroked Tofu's back. Maybe Tofu isn't ruining the calm, she continued, her voice soft but clear. Maybe he is the calm. He's just living completely in the now, without a single worry. Maybe he's the real teacher here. It was a strange idea, but it hung in the air. Lena started stroking Tofu, and he, surprised by this sudden, focused attention, leaned into her hand and began to purr, a deep, rumbling purr that filled the quiet room. Following her lead, one by one, the students relaxed. They stopped seeing Tofu as a nuisance and started seeing him as part of the experience. They focused on the sound of his purring instead of trying to block it out. They felt the soft vibration fill the space. And for the first time ever, Tofu, surrounded by a room full of calm, accepting energy, curled up on a spare yoga mat and fell asleep. The chaos had finally settled. From that day on, everything changed. Tofu didn't stop coming to class, but his role was different. He was no longer the class clown. He was the furry guru. He still wandered around, but now, instead of being a distraction, his presence was a reminder. When he'd rub against someone's leg, they'd take it as a sign to be more grounded. When he'd purr, they'd match their breathing to its rhythm. He became a living, breathing meditation tool. Now, Tofu is the official studio mascot, affectionately known as the Zen Master in Residence. He has his own designated cushion right at the front, though he rarely uses it, preferring to make his rounds. People don't just tolerate him anymore. They look forward to seeing him. He's a reminder that peace isn't about creating a perfect, silent bubble. It's about finding calm within the beautiful, unpredictable chaos of life, even when that chaos has whiskers and occasionally tries to steal your sandwich. And everyone, including Tofu, leaves the class feeling a little more relaxed, a little more centered, and a lot more amused. He's the master of inner peace, with zero understanding of rent and a deep appreciation for a good chin scratch. Thanks so much for watching and sharing this little story with me. If you enjoyed our furry Zen Master's tale, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that will hopefully make you smile. See you next time.